Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Business from the BassBoat podcast. I'm your host, Adam Deakin. And, guys, today we are doing another solo show. This is, I think, the second one of the year. I have not done very many of these before, but had a guest cancel last minute. No big deal. Rescheduled, but I'm actually about to head out to California to fish as a coangler in the Delta. Super excited to get out there. I've never been to the Delta at all. With fuel prices, I'm okay with fishing some of this stuff as a co this year, with where fuel prices are at. But after that, I'm actually headed to South Dakota to fish Lake Oahe for our Colorado State qualifier. So, very busy right now with tournaments, and I have a list of topics that I've just always wanted to talk about. If there's a time for a solo show where maybe Bailey and Andrew are a bit busy, a guest cancels, something where there's just a good situation for me to come on and kind of share my opinions and views, and also put stuff up for debate. So this one is going to be the AAA angler debate. So to me, in tournament bass fishing, and I'm talking from the bass boat side of things, not kayak stuff, at the AAA level, what I consider the AAA level, that's the Opens and the Toyota Series. So out of those two places, I went through and I got a big note sheet in front of me that basically has the pros and cons of each, in my opinion, and compares them both. And to me, that is a good way to kind of break down what are your options. Now, disclaimer to all of this: you will not get rich fishing the Toyota Series or the Bassmaster Opens, period. It's very hard to get rich in tournament bass fishing in general. But these two divisions, I guess, organizations, specifically this AAA level, is meant to get you to the next level to where hopefully you can make more money. Granted, there are some guys who are doing very well in these things, but I'm just saying overall, from a risk reward perspective, it's hard to do. What kind of got my mind thinking through some of this stuff, and I'd love to read the book actually, but I heard on a podcast how a professional poker player looks at life in general. It was very interesting to see their thought process. And it's almost like everything is odds, like odds of making it into that parking spot, odds of like, and so like I kind of have taken that into account of other things, tournament bass fishing, glorified gambling, um, a good way to look at some of this stuff. So let's first get into the overall breakdown of these different tournament organizations, if maybe you're not familiar with what they are. So the Toyota Series is a subsidiary or a division of the Major League Fishing branch of tournament series. So you've got the Bassmaster, that's the Bassmaster Opens, is what I consider the AAA level. Then you have the Elite Series, the top level. On the Major League Fishing side, it's a little bit more confusing. You have the Toyota Series, which qualifies for the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit, which is a pro series over a $5,000 entry fee, similar to the Bassmaster Opens. But then there's also the Major League Fishing. I guess it's not the pro circuit, but the catch, weigh, release format. So that is called the Bass Pro Tour. Wow, couldn't think of that. Anyways, that is really the two different major tournament organizations that have a AAA level for folks like myself who would like to make it to that next level, who would like to compete, who are maybe happy competing at the AAA level to where it's an expensive entry fee, but you see the benefit in it. Anyways, it's that little bit higher step of competition over your club tournament series, over the BFLs. That's what we're talking about today. So Bassmaster Opens, 3 divisions. There's 3 divisions in the Bassmaster Opens. In the past, they've switched it to like 2 before, I think as much as 4. They used to have something on the West Coast. Currently, there's a Northern Division, a Central Division, and a Southern Division. Now, sometimes those are a little like the Central Division is like a bunch of Alabama lakes, and it's like, okay, well, how much of this is actually really a Central Division? Anyways, so that's a whole other debate. Part of that may have been with COVID, but there is definitely a Bassmaster I have seen a Southeast presence the most when it comes to the opens. That's where they seem to go a lot at the time. But anyway, Southern Division, Central Division, Northern Division. Toyota Series currently has 6 divisions. Now, this number has fluctuated up and down, kind of where they see demand, where they feel there's a need for a division. These are generally more localized than the Opens, but you could argue both ways. Opens being like a Southern Division, maybe if you've got a guy that lives in the middle of it, he may drive 3-4 hours in total to all those different tournaments, or that's his farthest drive, I should say. Same within the Toyota Series. You have maybe the division that I fished last year and a little bit of this year on the boater side was the Plains division. So Lake of the Ozarks, Grand Lake, and then Darnell was last year were the 3. Those are all relatively close to, a couple hours between all of those lakes. So anyways, that's how it is broken down, just from a general number tournament standpoint. The Toyota Series has a championship, whereas the Bassmaster Opens does not. That's a big deal in my eyes, and we'll kind of get into that. So I have this broken down into a bunch of different categories here. First, let's start with, let's go, where do things qualify for? So Bassmaster Opens, your goal, if you're fishing the Bassmaster Opens, in my opinion, should be to make the Elite Series. So how to qualify for the Elite Series, the Bassmaster Opens, out of those 3 divisions, 3 from each division first qualify for the Elite Series. 3 out of the Southerns. This is based on your Angler of the Year rankings, your points throughout the end of the year after every tournament. 3 from the Bassmaster Opens Southerns, 3 from the Centrals, and 3 from the Northerns, and then an additional 3 from the overall. So how the Bassmaster Elite Series fields brings in new anglers every year is 12 anglers from the Opens divisions, and then they're going to pull on the Elite Series list where guys who are getting cut. There's a whole bunch of stuff around who gets cut in the Elite Series. But anyways, that is what your goal is from the Bassmaster Opens schedule. There's no championship. The payouts are okay. From a AAA perspective, let's just say it, the payouts are not good either in the Toyota Series or the Opens, in my opinion, from an overall risk return standpoint. But more so, there's the carrot to make the Elite Series. Also, if you win a Bassmaster Opens, you are invited to fish the Bassmaster Classic. That's another huge carrot, right? So all these tournament organizations, in my opinion, for not saying this is a bad thing to do, they're trying to make money. And as long as people are signing up for these tournaments at the levels that they are, they're never going to have issues making money. They dangle carrots, right? Like if you fish the Opens, you have a carrot dangling over your head to make the Elite Series. Now, the odds are we're talking 225 boat field, 3 tournaments, finishing in the top 3 out of all those people. And then maybe in the overall, you increase your odds a little bit. Like the odds are very, very low to make the Elite Series. Extremely difficult. Probably the hardest thing to do in tournament fishing right now, in my opinion. Again, that is how the Opens are structured. That carrot of making the Elite Series, that carrot of if you win a tournament, you make the Bassmaster Classic. Those are carrots, and they have some weight to people. And that is why you see these fields. And tournament fishing is blowing up right now. We know that from all sorts of just looking at the amount of people who are entering tournaments right now. It's crazy to me. So that's how the Bassmaster Opens works. Now, the Toyota Series, on the other hand, is, so instead of having 3 divisions, there's 6 divisions. So you have double the amount of divisions. You still qualify for the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit if you finish in the top 5 per division. So they're sending a total of 30 anglers, the possibility of 30 anglers if they want to fish the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit. That is what the Toyota Series is designed around if you're trying to fish the higher level. Now, the Toyota Series also has a championship. So both with the Opens and the Toyota Series, there's 3 tournaments per division, but the Toyota Series has a championship. How you qualify for that championship is if you finish in the top 25 in your division, or what's cool, they have this wild card division where it's the top 12 overall and this is it's designed to allow anglers to maybe, if you have to miss one of that divisions tournaments and say you fish 4 tournaments, so you fish 3 in the centrals and then you're like, hey, I'm going to go fish something up north. Always wanted to experience Lake Champlain. You go up there, and if you finish you get to drop one of those tournaments. So 3 tournaments count, but if you have to fish 4 or more tournaments for this wild card division, you finish in the top 12 of that, you also make the Toyota Series Championship. So the Toyota Series Championship is at the end of the year, generally in the fall, and it's the top 25 from every division and then also the top 12. So that is the breakdown of what each of these kind of tournament organizations do. The carrot for the Toyota Series is to make either the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit, make the championship. Those are the 2 big carrots from the Toyota Series, in my opinion. The Opens is the Elite Series. So let's talk a little bit about all these different divisions I've got broke down here. So average payout. Let's start there because everyone wants to hear about the money. So the Bassmaster Opens, first place in a 225 boat field, which is the maximum field in a Bassmaster Opens, is $52,500 off of an $1,800 entry fee. 10th place, you finished in 10th place in the Bassmaster Opens, an incredible finish, $7,500. The 40th place, which is the last check, is $3,450. Okay, now the Toyota Series. The Toyota Series does not have a cap on the field per se, depending on the lake. Now, certain lakes, they're not able to pull a permit that has a large field. Gunnersville, for instance, this year, they were able to have 330 plus boats on. They were able to pull that permit. They allowed anglers to lock to move to different lakes. So that is the difference in the Toyota Series versus the Opens. Opens is capped at 225. Toyota Series is no cap, but not all the tournaments get to 225 anglers. Historically, the Opens get to 225 anglers, except for up north. Up north, they get maybe 180, 190 anglers, which some divisions of the Toyota Series, that's kind of where the average is. Some are much lower. You look at the Western Toyota Series, 75 boat, 90 boat tournaments. That's just because out west, there's a lot of different tournament organizations and a lot of guys fish certain things. There's just more of that. Now, there's a lot of anglers out west, but they don't all fish the same thing. But overall, my opinion, there's still way more anglers in the Southeast. Anyways, okay. So the Toyota Series, again, has a payout of $51,500 for first. So that's very close to the Elite Series. Bassmaster Opens at $52,500. The difference is the big carrot as of lately, I keep referring to carrot, but the big incentive program is if you run a Phoenix Boats and you fish the Toyota Series, there's an additional bonus of $35,000 if you win an event. If you run a Phoenix Boats within 2 years, you win an event, there's an additional $35,000 attached to that. So that makes that $50,000 payday now $80,000, $90,000. Really impressive. So cool thing that they do. There's also a contingency program. You know, if you finish, the next finishing Phoenix guy makes $1,000 or something like that. If you don't necessarily win it, you have to win it for the $35,000. But that is a difference in the Toyota Series. There's not necessarily a contingency program that is that strong in the Opens. 10th place on the Toyota Series is only $4,500, which is substantially less than the Opens being 7,500. And by the way, I'm comparing these numbers on the Toyota Series of an event that had 225 boats to be apples to apples comparison to the Opens. This was the Toho event of this year, had 225 boats. Exactly. So 4,500 versus 7,500. Again, there's the contingency program. There's also the championship. So those are two things to keep in mind, and Angler of the Year stuff we'll get into. But anyways, 40th place, 2,090 in the Toyota Series. Back to the Opens was 3,450. So still better checks in the Opens, right? Now, the Toyota Series does pay down to 50th in a 225 boat field. They pay a $2,000 check. There's no checks past 40th in any of the Opens. So that's one difference there. It's a little bit more payback in the field. Top ends are very close, but there seems to be a quicker degrade in the Toyota Series. But I think to fully keep everything in mind here, the Toyota Series also has a better Angler of the Year payout and a chance to make the Toyota Series Championship, which has a $2,000 payday, a $235,000 payday if you run a Phoenix boat. So that is, again, kind of where our differences are here. Along those lines, we'll go into Angler of the Year stuff. So Toyota Series, if you are the highest finisher in the Angler of the Year in your division, you get an additional $5,000 in that 3-tournament division. Opens, there is no Angler of the Year per division prize, to my knowledge, but there is an overall prize of $10,000. So that's the difference there in Angler of the Year. Now, championship stuff, again, Opens, you have the Elite Series as the main carrot. There's no championship at the end of the year. You fish your 3 tournaments, or you fish the 9 tournaments, or you fish 2 divisions, you fish 6 tournaments. That is what your goal is, in my eyes, is to absolutely make the Elite Series. Toyota Series, on the other hand, if you make that championship, it has a pretty good payout for the top end, but it's a no entry fee championship. 200,000 for first. Second, I think, pays out 50 grand. That 200,000 does not include the Phoenix boats bonus. And then that number comes down, but it's a pretty good payout for the top, I don't know, 10 guys, 25 guys, a good payout. And part of that is because what they do additionally is if you are the highest finisher in your division, again, 25 from every division and then the wild card. But if you are in the top qualifier, so say you're the best guy from out west, you finished 36th in the tournament, you get an additional $10,000. So the top finisher from each division makes an additional $10,000. Another way to where there's kind of a little bit maybe more of where they're making up that difference from a little bit higher payouts in the Opens. I'll let you be the judge on any of this stuff, but that is, in my opinion, a little bit better return from the Toyota Series standpoint versus the Opens. One thing we neglected to bring up here was the entry fees. Toyota Series is a $1,700 entry fee, plus there's an online fee. Opens is $1,800. Now, coangler stuff, I'll do just a quick breakdown of that because I had a really hard time on the Bassmaster website finding out what the coangler payouts are. But anyways, $550 entry fee in the Toyota Series, $475 entry fee in the Opens. There is an coangler Angler of the Year additional $2,000 per division. On the Toyota Series, you fish for 5 fish. Opens, you fish for 3 fish as a coangler. But anyways, payouts are, I'm going to say, similar there. From my experience, I fished both of them as co's. I fished the Toyota Series as a boater as well. The coangler side of things, on the Toyota Series, you win a boat, a $33,000 boat, but you have to deal with selling a boat if you don't want that boat. Versus on the Opens, I think it's straight cash, 25, 22,000. I could be off there. Maybe it's a little more. Anyways, pretty similar in my opinion at the end of the day from the co-angler perspective minus the championship. Let's see what else I got on my list here. Geographically, obviously, the Toyota Series has more options. Bassmaster seems to be limited there from that perspective, but maybe there's less of a local advantage from that aspect because you have more of a committed field to fishing the entire series. You have to sign up way in advance to get in that top 225 boats to be able to fish the event, especially the Southerns and the Central Division. The Northern Division, again, doesn't quite all the way fill out necessarily every time. So geographically, there's some differences there, and there's just more on the Toyota Series side of things. I would say overall, the Toyota Series draws more boats and is limited to that 225. But I mean, I looked at like the Central Division this year, the Toyota Series, and every single one of those are over 225 boats. There's some divisions that consistently have 180 boats on the Toyota Series, and then you have like the West Coast deal, which is a whole nother situation, but 75 to 90 boats per tournament. So there's some differences there. I think fisheries visited is another topic to bring up on this side of things. The Bassmaster Opens, go to some great fisheries. The Toyota Series goes to some great fisheries. The Opens, sometimes you look at like a Red River, some of these Central Division river tough fishing, 10 pounds a tournament. I don't necessarily like seeing that, but I understand from the tournament's perspective, these municipalities are paying them to come. There's relationships there. I don't sometimes agree with, especially that Central Division, then qualifying for guys for the Elite Series if they make it off of those 3 tournaments, because it's a very maybe muddy river situations, and then they jump on the Elite Series and they've got Florida and the North and all these variables that are different. So I don't necessarily always agree with that decision, but quality of fisheries, I think they're close. I would put a notch on the Toyota Series as, generally speaking, they're going to go to a little bit nicer places, hopefully during better times. Again, can't be perfect. They're tournament organizations. They have to abide by city rules and all this kind of stuff, and they're getting paid to go there by municipalities, sometimes during specific times of the year. That is everything around fisheries visited. Let's see what else we've got here. Competition level. This is a good debate. And I think in my head, I had always kind of had a notch towards maybe the Opens guys versus the Toyota Series guys, specifically because they are competing to make the Bassmaster Elite Series. And in my eyes, that is, from an outside perspective, I respect a ton of guys in both organizations. I have a great time watching all organizations. I have friends on both sides of the organizations. I fish more of the Toyota Series. Part of that's geographically for me, where I live in comparison to where the Opens are. Part of it's because, in my opinion, there's a better return on your investment unless your sole goal is to make the Elite Series from the Opens. That's probably the biggest takeaway from all of this in my eyes. If your sole goal is to make the Elite Series, you need to be fishing the Opens. If you are trying to gain experience at a high level to maybe then eventually do that, or if you want to make the Bass Pro Tour, if you want to make the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit, the Toyota Series make more sense from a financial perspective, in my opinion. Anyways, competition level. Opens and Toyota Series both have incredible anglers, and both have anglers that are your bottom 25%, aren't necessarily competing there. And I think both have those situations. I think there are top guys in the Opens, especially when you bring in some of the Elite Series guys. There are top guys in the Toyota Series. I mean, you show up to a Toyota Series and you got Mark Rose there. You've got, major high-level tournament anglers on both sides, and they'll cross, right? Like you'll have Keith Combs go and fish a Toyota Series in Texas. So I think that they are relatively even. Again, I'd always thought more on the open side. Now, fishing both Opens as a co, I have drawn guys on both Toyota Series and Opens who I was like, I don't know why this guy is here. And heck, there's probably been coanglers that have drawn me and been like, why is this guy here? But anyways, it's interesting to me, the whole competition debate with some of this stuff, because I've seen it on both sides. I've seen some incredible anglers in front of me, and I've seen some guys who I wasn't impressed with on both the Toyota Series and the Open. So I think they're relatively close. I might give a slight notch to the Opens just because there's generally an Elite Series field competing there, and there's guys who have set their whole goal on making the Elite Series, and that's all they want to do. They're fishing 9 tournaments a year to make that Elite Series event. There's not very many guys fishing 9 Toyota Series a year. I don't know of any. Maybe there's some fishing 6 to 7, a couple divisions, maybe 8 tournaments, just trying to gain that experience and grow. But that's my thoughts on competition level. I think that's really about it for me. I would love to hear from other people, other thoughts here on where you think it makes the most sense to fish at the AAA level. Both of these are very expensive to fish, and, you know, something that should be taken into account at some point. I think it really comes down to if you're trying to qualify for the Elite Series versus necessarily just trying to maybe have a side hustle situation. Again, very hard to make money in both of these without sponsorship support or owning your own business and having the ability to step away and have that income coming in without you being there. But those are kind of my opinions on the 2 tournament organizations. I think both are great. I think it's great for the sport to have this AAA level. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on where you think people should go. Again, overall takeaway from me, Toyota Series are a little bit better bang for your buck. There's more options. You have the ability to fish a Toyota Series championship. There's more payouts throughout that. Opens, if you live in an area or if you can get into those Opens, I don't think it's bad to fish just a division. I think it's better to fish, if you can, all 9 and try and make the Elite Series. I think that is the goal for the Opens and the carrot that they are presenting. Anyways, would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Where you think you would want to spend your money if you were interested in fishing the AAA level. And I think there's a culture with both too. I think once you get a group of friends that are fishing the Opens, I think you see guys hang out, together and all fish the Opens together. And you have guys who get in groups in the Toyota Series and they fish all the Toyota Series together. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment, like, and subscribe. That would be fantastic, including on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, if you're not on YouTube. But email us at The Serious Angler. I should probably double check and make sure that email's right. I do need to get back to some emails, by the way. Anyways, go ahead and comment on YouTube of where you would put your money in these situations. And yeah, we'd love to kind of have some debates and see what people think. And with that, guys, wish me luck. Headed to the Delta, and I will be back after next week. We will get another show going.